Looks good. Okay, so we will look at my pitiful amount of money left over this wipe, as I was a little busy and it was a little not so fancy, I guess. So we didn't end up with as much as I guess I normally do. Off ammo case, main ammo case. This was worse. It was Cole. What was the ammo for the one they buffed? 190.
Yeah, SS-190 is what they buffed for the
Okay,
P90. Yeah.
so this is replace. It used to be this was okay, but it was subsonic, so we go with 190 SS 190. PS is the best. 308's the second best. I mean, the reason I say this is because of how cheap it is. Otherwise, this is probably the best round in the game. Um, BT followed close behind, or BS if you can get both of those from reserve. My personal favorite, and I think actually the best pistol in the game currently, without being just a cheap, good pistol at shooting heads or eliminating scabs for gear, is the SR1MP with SP10 or SP13. I like SP10 for it's cheap, but I mean, if you're going to go for something and you really want it to hit, I think SP13 is the better of the two. SP5, SP6, but this is going to get some massive rebalancing next, as of the next wipe. LPS, from what I've seen in most cases, is the best. Maybe SNB if you get some in raid or it's really cheap, somehow, because LPS is going to be is literally the cheapest. Um, is just the cheapest accessible. I mean, I would put this up here with 308, but it most of the time for me it's going to be a Mosin, and I don't really like the Mosin, but it could be an SVD if I wanted to put money into it, and then in that case it would be better. I apologize for all of the coughing, clearing my throat, whatever, but for whatever reason, I don't know, today just happened to be the start of the wipe stuff and me wanting to do this and then me having whatever that is. So, okay. Next ammo case will be 5.56 is good. I should go with this if I was going to use it. I mean, I would go with M855, but people say it's no pen and that's no better than PS, which I actually like PS, so whatever. I mean, basically, I would just skip 5.56 and go with something else and get away with it. Flechette from Jaeger is your preferred, or should be your preferred shotgun round in the form of I guess it would be darts. So it's sort of semi slug, semi buckshot. Um,
Yeah, you could consider it like a buckshot, basically.
9x19 was my preferred pistol if I was going to go with something like this, because this would be my preferred pistol, probably minus this. Um, but 9x19 is really, really bad right now, so but that might change, and I'll get more into that later. But this is what I would have used. They did bring in the 9 by the 1911, and that's oof. Subsonic is oof. The round itself shouldn't be bad, but I think there's something wrong with it. Cole and me suspect, or at least Cole suspects, and I agree with him, that it's probably something to do with it's dropping too much, based on maybe the iron sights, based on maybe the way that subsonic works, based on maybe how new it is, and because for whatever reason in their current state everything is a little off, especially iron sights. So maybe it's that, maybe it's something else, maybe it's rebalancing. I don't know. Um, Toss for memes, 366 is going to get a buff, but again, more on that later, along with 9x19 and 9x39, which is the ASVAL VSS. This is the best round in the game. I mean, it really is. This is ridiculous how cheap and actually quite efficient this is. You can buy this, a Makarov, an extra magazine, and 50 of these, go into a raid and literally kill things. It's not to say you should be expecting much, but for how cheap a Makarov alone with an extra magazine and 50 of these, I mean, I don't know what you want to expect. That's, to me, you should never go in the hatchet. You should always have a Makarov, an extra magazine, and 50 of these. You never will go wrong. Whereas a hatchet, I mean, if you're going to do something like place the tool kit on the wall in factory, I could see where you wouldn't go in with something. But I mean, in most cases, if not even every other case other than that, you should just go in with a Makarov, a magazine, 50. I like PS. I actually personally think that PS is good enough. I know it beats Scavs, and it beats lower armored people. And if you're trying to beat higher armored people and you're trying to fight and kill people, okay, don't use this. But in the case that you're running all of the time, I'd say this is as cheap as you can physically get. You can craft it, you can find it, you can get it off of scabs, you can, you know, I mean, buy it off the flea market. In general, it's going to be a decent enough round, and by then you'll be supplementing having gotten enough of this BT or BS from reserve by the time that you would really want to go with something serious. Um, so, yeah, here's the 45 ACP. They have FMJ and RIP right now, but there are going to be more in the next patch, which is the wipe. PSBP. I'm going to guess that BP is probably the one that everyone should shoot for if they go for a lesser, because like PS and then PP, in my opinion, are actually both good median usages for 545. But if you want to actually break armor and fight people, I would start with your bottom minimum would be BP. But even then, I think I would say just go with BT and BS from reserve. Um, FMJSX is pretty much the only thing you want to use for the MP7, but even then, probably just avoid altogether anyway. Um, this one is good. I've heard it was worse. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, Cole. The M856A1 was worse than M855A1?
Well, from what I remember, it was like basically the 5.6 penned more than the 5.5, but it did like way less body damage. So the little bit more pen than it penned wasn't worth it. So basically, 5.5A1 was the better of the two.
And I can say I think that's what I remember. Okay, so that's my ammo cases. Again, my low money. We found out that the 74U was actually amazing. That was towards the end, though. We also tested a lot of pistols and came out with the Beretta being the cheapest and most reliable, and with the impending possible buff to 9x19, I'm certain that we will, you know, it will be probably the top dog for quite a while. I mean, that's not to say I guess the Gratch and the P22 won't be good, but considering how much more expensive they are, and in general, you'd probably just want to sell them and get this and make money off of that, even if it's a small amount of money, just money off of that. With the extra magazine, the reliability, the only thing I could say that probably would be wrong with the Beretta would be its how loud it is. Other than that, I mean, that's why I put a suppressor on this, but overall, I'd say this is a pretty standard. You know, you start with this, you go to this, which, you know, for whatever reason, you know, this is not a pistol. This is not an actual pistol. It doesn't fit in the holster slot. But to me, it is the supreme pistol. It has the highest magazine for a pistol, other than maybe the 5.7, and obviously 5.7 is far more expensive and far more competitive and damaging helmets and armor than this is. But for as cheap as this is and is controllable and absolutely reliable, I mean, look, 47 and like what? Like, are these even similar? You know, like at all? I mean, you be the judge. I'd say at this point, if you're gonna go for a holster to get double sling, you start with a Beretta. If you're gonna go with something in your sling, but you're looking to actually win the fights that you get into, I would kind of go with this. The polymer grip would kind of be optional, but I'd say if you can afford it slash you have access to it, I'd say get it, because it's, I don't know, it's pretty much the only thing this thing is really missing is a little bit of extra, because the grip is great. The Saiga 9's muzzle brake is better than the PP. I mean, without taking the rear sight off and dealing with that, because then you wouldn't be able to aim properly. And obviously the dust cover not really being interchangeable. I mean, this is pretty much it. That whatever 30 round magazines, either in solid gold, the PP's 30 round, or these 20 rounders. I mean, if you really are on a budget and really hurting, I guess you'd go with the 10 rounders, but I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, the price for buying this is so small. I think it what's 2K? Yeah, it's almost 2K. So I would go with that. So Beretta Saiga 9 545, starting with the 74U, but going for anything that's either you find, it's cheap or otherwise. Adding small things like the PP handle, the recoil pad, something that allows you to put a grip on. In the case of this, it would be the B11, but I believe it's this one for every other AK, because it's the foregrip that allows you a tactical on the side here, and then a foregrip, which also, I believe, Cole, correct me if I'm wrong, you can put something on this polymer AK with the side, the tactical, you can put something that attaches to the side of it and comes over.
Are you talking about the AK 100 series one?
Yeah.
No, not
Okay.
that one.
No. Okay. Cool.
The Zenit B10 or whatever, the one that's
Yeah.
got that very
B12.
similar looking. Yeah.
B12. Yeah, but it does go on the B11 for the 74U, so you can do that. But you can basically you get away with murder with this. You getting a grip either in raid or something you bring in, and then a tactical slot for as cheap as it is. I mean, let's see, it's as of speaking 1,375, so cheap. Um, then go into uh, 762, 308. No, it was Mosin 762, 308, and then 556, and I think that was how I set up the uh, hierarchy of what you want to go with guns to efficiency and price, cost and damage and recoil. I think that was how I did it, but uh, regardless, we'll get to that in a second. Let's just finish this. T45M, in my opinion, is worth the price. Yes, it is a tracer. It's really exceedingly cheap. I mean, if PS is cheap, this is even more cheap. You're able to get a lot of it from in-raid or off scavs or off things. You can get it cheaply from vendors once it unlocks. I believe that's 2 proper, or maybe it's 3 proper. But regardless, it's a very cheap and efficient round. I would recommend it if you are hurting for cash and want to use 7.62 early, especially if you can find it. But otherwise, I would say just stick with PS because it's not going to give you away. And it does have slightly better puncture ballistics because of its being a tracer, even though that doesn't make sense. I have seen that. Cole doesn't want to use it or doesn't swear by it, but I'd say it's okay if you got it. Um, with the changes to the flea market being found in raid only next patch, which is this wipe, which is coming in like 5 days or 3 days, I don't imagine you will see a slick in container anymore. We'll still have this gas tube combo.
Sick case?
What did I say?
Slick.
The sick case. Doc's case is probably going to be there instead. I would never bring these into raid in a bag like this. Neither this is just an offline setup because testing purposes. But a Grizzly, instead of things like that, would probably, I mean, this would work. It would probably look like this next wipe. If you wanted to, you could go like something like that. The only problem is it'd probably be like this for the meds, with Propotol being at one of the best stims. ETG followed very closely, if not maybe above it, in usefulness. Let me just order it real quick since it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I'd say that's about it. We had the drops events. That was all this wipe was drops events. I wasn't there for the rivals, but I did get some rival stuff just to show it off, to have it to see or whatever. They added also the PPSH just at the end here, along with I don't remember if there was anything else that specifically got added this wipe. But yeah, I would say the meds in efficiency and usage would be like this. Am I missing any meds, Cole?
Let me. What meds do you?
I've got Probe, ETG, SJ6, SJ1, Adrenaline, Zagustin. Am I missing anything?
I think that's all of them. Yeah, I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it.
Okay, so I would highly recommend that Saliwas be your main usage. Great medicine, fast usage, great amount, healing, all kinds of stuff. Serve 12 unless you wanted to try to do something with this, gas tube, which I was kind of trying to do and was ending with.
I mean, technically, the only injector you're missing was the morphine, but you know everyone knows about morphine by now.
Oh
So
yeah, okay. SKSs were good. Then again, 762 was good this patch. Tokarev needs help. We noticed that long before they added the PPSH. Then they added the PPSH, and well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
it was further confirmed to be needing help.
yeah, it was bad. That's putting it nicely. Um, Fuel is important. Hideout is important. Got these from drops. Gosh, probably should just show off now all the rest of the stuff. I got these from drops. I think this is actually purchased, but um, just real quick show off what I got. These are okay. The splints are okay in usage. Golden Star is the best, but probably going to be, run you, some ridiculous money. Like a 10 usage is 166,000 right now. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to afford that. This is another thing that's going to go away. If the sick container is going away, this is also going away because of the. You're going to have to figure out your own way of actually buying it, making it, or whatevering it, and the flea market's no longer going to be there to regardless of how much money you get to allow you to buy it. So the access to I'm pretty sure that we had that before, where they already know about the added accesses, right? Because this
Added access to what?
with the the red rebel, giving you the ability
Oh,
to leave.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
did
Well,
we
no,
have
technically
reserve before
reserve
this?
was nope. Reserve was added in 12. So
Okay, so in this they added an extra map, reserve, which was the military base. Um, they added a bunch of use in this that you need this to be able to get out. You have your armor off. They added a new boss with Gluhar. Um, the Red Rebel is basically, I mean, you don't use it for a melee weapon. You just use it for those escapes. You can also use it on woods. So I had this for my what I wanted. I mean, yeah, I decked these out because I was never really using them, but I never actually kind of end up doing that in my runs. I end up like decking stuff out enough to have that, and then never end up using them. Um, Here's my jokey case where it has everything that I tried out and with varying levels of success. This is just bad. I mean, it's just never going to have a point to exist at any point. It's just buy a Mosin. You don't need it. We've nicknamed it through Cotton the squirrel rifle, and it really is just that. It's terrible. I mean, anything else that I'm forgetting about this, Cole, that this thing needs a descriptor for?
um, I mean, next patch with the 366 buff, it might be okay, but I don't think it's still going to be much better than okay.
So keep an eye out on that, and obviously the VPO 209. The Taz is bad, but the Taz has always been bad. So I mean, it's cheap. It's a shotgun. It could, if you found it or whatever, or you got it off a scav or something, it could be useful. I mean, I've tested it. It's not, you know, abhorrent. It's just not good because shotguns are in a weird place, and bolt action shotguns are. I don't even know if they're ever going to be okay. So, um, it's kind of like pump, but even slower. I figured out this wipe. Don't know if it's going to stay that way. That the Burris Fastfire 3 is one of the cheapest and most accessible collimators to be able to put on things. Whether you're putting them on full on serious, like your Hunter with a TT01 or what, but it does make a much better sight than the Iron Sight and is exceedingly cheap. I think just it alone is about 10,000. This is obviously depending on how much dollars cost is a little more than 10,000, but for a skier selling them for 12,000. But this is probably inflated from the end of the wipe, but you get the idea. It's pretty cheap, and for you can't really beat that for the price of a collimator. Otherwise, I would highly and completely recommend the P1X. The P1X is disgusting, looks great, is cheap. I mean, let's just see what it says for the end of this wipe. I mean, 20,000 is expensive compared to what it used to be, but still for 20,000 compared to what other ones are, and for how much people were selling them for, I mean, you can get them for cheap. I mean, again, end of wipe, so keep these prices in mind when you think about them. They're not going to be that expensive when the wipe starts, but um, the new specialty probably for the next patch, at least to start out, along with a lot of other things like I made with the recommendations, like the 74U, is going to be the Vepr because of its use of 7.62. It's single fire. It's cheap. People are maybe not going to like it. I mean, with the addition of the weight system, people are looking at how heavy something is and how much they really want that for that heaviness, and so most of the time they're probably just going to take your meds. I tried the MPX. Pretty much all 9x19 is broken. I mean, I made this with it being the best and least recoil, but I would not recommend this normally for someone to pick up to use. It's just that. It's just like the least recoil MPX with this grip. The MP5 is actually very cheap. There's almost nothing on this other than buying it with the little suppressor combo that allows me to have the suppressor on it, and this is how low it is with nothing other than a way to put on my favorite sight and a ring to be able to put on a laser, and you don't even really need that as long as you're ADS, and you would be with the P1X. So great recoil control. I got this, I believe, in a drop, either that or live from a raid. I don't remember. I think this is a drop. But I would not normally buy or have this. Yeah, because it's a saboteur. I'm pretty sure this is the drop. And this isn't even actually its actual grip. I think this is from Arsas or something. Regardless, yeah, this isn't the actual grip. The Saiga is a monster. I used it. He doesn't show this because I believe I replaced it with a brand new one by just buying a new one and rekitting it out from my old one. But this one was like damaged down to I think 90 or less, and I actually really love the Saiga this patch. But then again, I mean, it's the way it is without every patch. The Saiga is very, very powerful, but it needs mods and love and attention because they're afraid of shotguns, and rightfully so, because if this is in the hands of a scav, it's basically just instant death. Like they had to shoot your legs off and you just drop to the ground. Now again, this most of the time I've seen that happen is at least offline, but I'm several times at least either this wipe, and I don't remember it, maybe at the beginning of this wipe or last wipe, I would just drop. I dropped to Saigas. We were literally just running, me, Cole, Monkey, and I'm just around the corner, die, oh, I'm dead. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, Saiga. And so, it's very deadly, not to be underestimated. Really great gun otherwise, and they did finally respect it from what I heard from Cole, that they gave the ability to buy magazines, and so you don't have to play a game about trading for magazines. You can actually just buy them. So it's a good gun, and you can also get the magazines off of the scabs.
Just as a off chance warning, it's possible that they tried that out for this wipe and it may not hold over into the next wipe, but who knows? It At the current moment, their magazines are purchasable at level 1 skier. But anyway.
Okay, and then we have on the docket of I think one is if I remember correctly, so I can actually put across this information because of Cole. One of them is I guess a sniper rifle. The VSS is a sniper rifle, and the other one is a marksman rifle. Am I getting that right? Am I remembering that?
No, one's a assault rifle and the other's a DMR. So the VSS is a DMR and the AS Val is an
It's
assault
saying
rifle.
sniper rifle here. Did they change that possibly, or?
No, I just think that that's what it says doesn't mean that's what it benefits from.
Okay. So anyway, that's the difference between the VSS and the AS Val. I would personally say with the price point of a VSS versus an AS Val, really honestly, you should just go with the VSS. Don't just because it doesn't use your assault rifle skill doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. The price difference is significant enough that when you are using it, you're going to level that up enough that because of how fast this fires, it's not going to matter. I mean, you can use probably both and level up both because of how fast they fire and how fast you're likely to level it, but let's be honest, it's stick with the VSS. Now, as of the next wipe, I'm not sure if that's even going to matter or it's ever going to even exist based on if they how they badly they nerf the cartridge. But right now, this was like the gun of the patch, and I called that from way back when. But then they buffed it even more so, and so yeah, um, yeah, the MP7 is bad. Then again, a lot of those SMGs are in a bad place because pistol cartridge is in a bad place. So I
Dottie
would,
Hack would like to know your location.
yeah, I mean, maybe when the wipe comes and we're in the next patch, and 9x19 gets a buff, we'll be seeing Dottie running around with a Glock and 9x19 coming back. But at the current moment, everything pistol is in a bad place. Maybe with save, the 5.7 and SR1MP, but those are, I mean, maybe not the SR1MP because of how cheap and accessible it is and how good the ammo is. Not great the ammo, but good the ammo is. But if you really want a pistol that is destroying things, you basically are buying a small rifle you put in your holster, and that's the 5.7. Otherwise, 308 and the Hunter and their King, and you try to get anything you can to get a hold of those. M1A, Hunter, MDR 308. Like stick to whatever you can to get a hold of a 308. It's so good. I mean, like just look at this beautiful. This doesn't even have to have a grip. I mean, of course I have the advanced tube and everything, but regardless, this is so easy and cheap to be able to get, and it's so disgustingly good for how fast you can fire this. I mean, it's single fire, but you wouldn't know it to shoot it. It seems like as long as you're clicking fast, it's shooting fast. So, you know, if you're going to buy a Mosin, I'd say keep your eyes out because an SV98 actually might be cheaper. So, keep your eyes out. And with it a 10, round detachable box magazine, I mean, what else are you expecting? It's easy. You can put an optic on it. It's got great ergonomics. It's got good recoil, control. I mean, what else are you really expecting? Otherwise, if you're going for really cheap and they're not that cheap, I'd say go for the Mosin Infantry, not the carbine. The carbine, just go with the full length. Um, yeah, RVG Black, I got a really good deal. These are really really good grips. I mean, likely it's only me looking at this, so you can look back at the guide section in our Discord and see, what the hierarchy of grips. But if you are watching this and you do want to know, hit me up on Twitch or on Discord or just Kodiak in general, in pretty much any platform, Kodiak777, and I can pass along to you what the grips will likely be. Now, this might change just as everything in Tarkov changes, but I would say, probably the best bang for your buck is going to be the RVG, whether found in raid or bot, because of its recoil control and then its high ergonomics. I don't remember what this is. I think this is just a low end MPX put with some like a sight on it. This and grip, and that's it. Um, Yeah, the Baskak is amazing. Forgot about that. Didn't have that really anywhere. I think that's kind of why I kept this. It's really, really good for an adapter. It's cheap. You're likely to get it in raid, so it's likely to either be free or very cheap. Even with the changes coming, you're still going to find them enough in raid that they're going to be on the market and hopefully for cheap. Because my approximation would be if they were not bought but found in raid normally, or in most cases that's how you got them, was finding them in raid, either buying them from people selling them, finding them in raid, or you finding them in raid. I don't think that the price is going to go up with it being found in raid only, but who knows? We'll wait and see. Um, Big find from Cole a couple of wipes ago, at least a couple of patches ago for sure. The LaRue Tactical Picatinny Riser literally turns an 8R from unusable into usable with any sight. Just great to have in a lot of scenarios. Very cheap, very efficient. Literally going to push your site picture up, so be careful for doing that too much. For then pushing your actual,
Height over barrel differential.
yeah. So be careful with that. But otherwise, very very good in most situations. Very underrated mod found by Cole. So keep that in mind if you are in the next wipe and you want to use an 8R and you don't want to replace the gas tube. But who knows? Maybe it might be compensating, too much. Like the replacement might be cheap, but just keep that in mind. Really good mod. And then the other really great one, if you're not going to be placing the plastic, the one, AK-100 series polymer on the bottom for the grip. You're going to be using the Ultimag. That's going to replace if something you buy off the market doesn't have a gas tube. This will be your gas tube, and your grip will let you have a scope on the top and a tactical on the side, which is, I don't know, pretty good for the price. I mean, in most cases, you're going to be able to take this and put this on the market, you know, the gun on the market with this if you took everything else off. And that's going to make it a cheap replacement and is very good, even for early wipe. I mean, if you have Edge Darkness, I believe you start out with this, so great, great thing. The PT3 is great, but probably a little too pricey, and you should go with the PT1. But if you're going to go for that price, this is very worth it. The VS combo, and of course the Hollow Sun being both great. Don't know. We'll see what that looks like next patch. And then, of course, the SRVV. Now, I'd say keep in mind that you're going to want to buy things that help you increase your recoil control. Don't worry about muzzle velocity. That's not puncture power. That's actually just flatness of bullet, so it goes farther out and shoots where you're shooting. But I in general wouldn't worry about that. But I'd say a cautionary tale: be careful when you're buying things, especially things like muzzle brakes, to not invest too much money and not getting much back in recoil control, because you can easily spend what would be better if you just converted some more of that money, or even less of that money in some cases, into a stock or other pieces that will actually give you more recoil control than a muzzle brake. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, you can find these in Raid, and they're obviously free then, so very cheap. But
Not going to name drop, but a popular streamer slash YouTuber of Tarkov also made a pretty decent discovery basically near the end of this wipe where basically any of the modifications that you can buy generally either from the traders or even from the flea market. Now, obviously, the flea market accessibility will become a lot less and prices may go up based on the found and raid from next patch. But basically, anything over 20,000 rubles for a modification. If you go over that, you are wasting more money than you're earning in actual usability for like recoil control, ergonomics, whatever, any number of things like that. So just keep that in mind.
yeah, and that goes especially for things where you're buying expensive magazines or expensive stocks or grips, especially for grips. In that's why I kind of recommend the RVG Black is the greatest price per, what you're getting recoil and ergonomics control. I forgot to mention with the RR you're going to need a paracord, which is why I'm putting these together to show you. You're going to need one of these inside of your gamma container, which is probably going to be your replacement meds. You're going to have like that. Um, but I would highly recommend Blackout Medicine is a great replacement for painkillers. Yes, you have to survive the fight, so if you want to, I would recommend bringing either a Propital if you're going for it rich, and because that will really save you, carry bleeds, carry your pain, be a painkiller, be really fast. But if you're not like me, you're like me, and you're going for cheap, and you're going to be more accessible, I'd go for analgin painkillers in your pockets, and then just leave the rest up to using the Serve 12. Or I tentatively recommend the CMS kit just for early game or cheap, or as I would recommend, you'd only use the Serve 12 on your stomach or your legs. As Cole has showed me time and time again, that using it on your arms, they're just going to shoot your arms back off, and most of the negatives you're going to get from your arms are just not worth trying to constantly re-bandage or re-surgical kit your arms. So in that sense, I would say leave your arms. You're not going to lose your chest or your head, and either be alive or want to unblack them, so don't touch those. So pretty much that leaves the only things you
Can't
want to.
can't use the serve or the CMS on chest or head.
Good. So regardless, don't touch those. If you could, you likely, from what he just described, never can. So regardless, just stay away from that, and use them on your stomach and legs. Legs for being able to walk around or run without hurting yourself, and stomach for not dehydrating or running out of energy. Other than that, I mean, that's why I'd say it's okay, maybe not great, but okay to bring a CMS kit in the case of a Serve 12 for the less size, but pretty much you're going to be losing a hell of a lot more health on those limbs, so you're likely only going to be using it once. And if you do it again, you don't expect it, whether you use it once or twice or 3 times, that you're going to have any remaining health other than keeping it out of the black for it to allow you to walk on or not dehydrate or whatever. But otherwise, you're going to want to use the Serve 12 for the amount of health you'll get back from your limb. Let's see. I would say that 2 cases of each, just before I forget, 2 cases of each inside of your stash is probably best. I don't know if the money case is required, and this is based on my opinion and not anyone else's, but I would say 3 scav junk boxes, but I've seen in the past that 2 might be efficient enough. I like to have one as a dump box, just as I also like to have an eye case as a dump box for quick raids, so you can get back into playing the game and not stuck in menus, escape from menus. One Holodnik is definitely going to be enough in that case. You might not need 2 med cases, but I like 2 med cases because of the amount of meds that I'm going to be crafting and I'm going to want access to. And the more I play the game, the more I've realized that having those is helpful. Certainly, like pistol cases, you're going to want, like anything that is cheap, try to get 2 of. Especially if you can craft them, like the mag boxes. I've crafted these and I didn't buy them, so whatever their crafting cost was, whether I found the pieces or bought the pieces, that's what they were. And I would not have bought them completed. Ammo cases, for an absolute fact, are necessary to have at least 1, if not 2 of. I would say.
But do keep in mind that you get those from mechanic quests as well, though, so you may not need to even buy them.
Right. Lucky Scav junk boxes, at least 2. I mean, I'd say 3, but at least 2. And then beyond that is your own flavor. I like the weapons cases for giving me better access to putting what I do make up away, so it's not taking up enough space, but it's actually giving me the ability to put it together, like literally just drag it out, press the middle mouse button, put this grip on, it's ready. I put a magazine in, it's ready to go. So that lessens my what I would say is the downturn from death is how I would say it. For my pistols, I used the 5.7 and the SR1MP. I mean, I really didn't use the 5.7. Let's be honest, I don't really like to use pistols, especially expensive pistols. With how expensive, I mean, even now, at the end, this is going to be like, fully built is like $75,000 or even whatever this guy is, $494. It's expensive. This is so ridiculous. You're not going to unlock it, so you're going to be buying it from people, and it's like you're buying a rifle. Just buy a rifle at that point. You could probably get enough pen or similar pen as you would be from a rifle. And then let's just check this real quick just for giggles. Yeah, this is still very expensive, and probably will stay this expensive because of how useful and how much people like it, and the found and raid only was what this is going to come from. So this is found and raid only always. There's no vendor that sells this, and it's expensive even as it is. So I'd imagine next wipe it's going to be that expensive, especially its demand on it. But I would highly recommend, if anyone is going to use a pistol that they want to actually kill people, is to get the SR1MP and put SP13 or SP10. SP10 is cheap but not as good, and SP13 is a little more expensive, and maybe it's a tracer bullet, but it's definitely going to be bang for your buck for a pistol that's going to puncture faces. Let's see this is endgame. Probably not something you're going to see immediately, but try to find these in raid or buy them, whether flea market or vendor. This is the best magazine in the game in a lot of respects. Especially with the way that they've kind of changed that. Your load and unload speed is not quick unless it's something like really bad, like a Makarov has a fast load and unload speed. But for a full-size rifle, this is your go-to for low ergonomics, load and unload, and check speed modifier is not that big of a deal. It adds a cool animation, not because of this number, but just because of this magazine. But I'd say in general, this is what you want to keep for your 5.45. I mean, then again, regular ones are fine too. M1As are amazing, and this is really really good. Uh, and again, I think this even exists for 7.62 39. So I mean, keep your eye out. I'd say anything is good as long as you have access to an M1A. Uh, an SKS with these are great, but it greatly depends on either you found it, you've bought it for cheap, or you got it for cheap, because otherwise 20 rounders might be more reasonable. It's anything better than the stupid non-detachable 10 round 10 round internal, but something like this would be good for a SKS if you can get it for cheap. It's great for if you only have just one and this is it. 35 is more than enough to kill most things, and you can reload it. And you can even unload it and reload it physically, or you can do the, press and internally reload if you want to just keep it like that. Um, my 5.7 magazines, my SR1 MP magazines, the magazines for my TAWs, and obviously for the Squirrel Rifle, MPX magazines, MP7 magazines, MP5 magazines, although this reminds me the Kurz is going to be a monster next wipe just for its cheapness. You can literally do something that I don't have a Kurz for, but I should quickly buy one just to show. Just to show, because why not? Because none of this is going to matter. You can literally do this. So you can have access to 2 on slings, a sling on back, obviously, and a holster, along with this just being your 4. And you literally have 20 round magazines sitting in these slots. Hell, you can even do this in pockets and have nothing in this. Obviously you got to have a vest, so you can have a crappy vest like a scav vest, and then just have most of your stuff in your pockets, and you're literally reloading and shooting from this basically vest pocketed, and allowing you to get anyone else's loot while you have this, which is a very competent fully automatic or semi-automatic 20 round submachine gun. Now, if you do decide to put it on, in a sling, or, what you have to put, you can't put it in your holster, you can get 30 rounders and easily use them in the same space as you would have just had this, have a 30 rounder in and a 30 rounder out, and you've got a more than competent pistol. Or I'd call it a pistol. I mean, it is an SMG, but I'd really call it a pistol, especially for its size and its usability. It does have some recoil. I mean, comparatively, you're looking at worse if you're just going to use it as a pistol in your sling, because as much as it does fire full auto, you're really not going to want to go full auto with this thing because of its kick, and you have to be really close for it to be hitting. And 9x19, we'll see if it's good enough for that next patch. But in general, this is good and worth a mention, and I don't have one, and that's sad. I should probably put that somewhere in my uh, list of guns, the hierarchy of guns, and where you're going to go with buying guns, but relatively worth just a mention in general. Um, this is the best armor in the game, this patch, and I would say maybe all time. It's Titan, so it repairs well. It's level 4, so it's going to stop pretty much everything. It does have a low armor point at 40, but I mean, it's cheapness, its availability, it's decent vest size, it's your armor and your vest, so you're getting a vest, you're getting an armor, it's level 4, it's Titan, it's easy repairable, it doesn't give you much negatives in the form of movement, turn speed, or ergonomics, and it's protecting your stomach. It makes it almost invaluably ridiculous. It's the only real big downside that I know of it is that its actual vest weight is going to be really high, and so you're going to be, for the new weight system, that you don't want to hit. I believe it's 30, Cole. You don't want to hit 30.
No. 30 is pretty basic. 40 is when you start to get lightly encumbered. 50 is when you start to be able to not be able to walk and regenerate your stamina at the same time. So you want to be under 50 as much as possible.
And so with that, you kind of go with, I'd call this the best, but your mileage may vary. You're going to find these and be able to repair them for cheap. You're going to be able to buy these from Ragman for fairly cheap, unless some drastic changes happen. And of course, that's Tarkov, so that's likely to happen anyway. This is likely going to be the thing that you're going to want to get a hold of and use all wipe. Now, that being said, you can go for, uh, help me with this, Cole, it's the M1? M1 and M2?
Yeah, Alpha M1 rig and the Alpha M2 rig.
So you're going to want to go
They're
for
armored
those.
rigs.
You're going to want to go with those. Those have more slots in the form of a rig. They have the same level 4 armor. They have more armor points. They are also Titan. They might have worse movement speed, turn speed, and ergonomics penalties, but they also have stomach, and albeit they're a little more expensive, they might last you a little longer because they are higher armor points and made of Titan material, so they're fairly easy to repair. And so you can move up, but I would say 4 should be considered your minimum. 3 if you're going for really cheap, or 2 if you're like, I don't know, you're doing something with a very specific purpose, and I would recommend never going in with no armor. So 2 if you can get it for cheap and you're doing something that you really, you know that you want to survive, because if you're going in to put in a tool set on factory, you're not going in to do something to survive. You're going in to finish the quest to put a tool set into repairing the fuse box in the factory, and you're not expecting to survive. So I wouldn't take, pretty much, I maybe take a Makarov because they say you should always have a gun. There should never be a point where you don't want a gun. But even then, since you're not going to be likely using that gun, maybe even then you don't want a gun. But certainly no armor. But otherwise, if you're going to be doing anything, always have level 2 armor, because it will save your life a lot more than not having armor in general will do. And it won't slow you down all that much, if anything at all, trust me. That, along with, if you're going to go in, have a Makarov, have a P.A.K.A. always. I mean, that's just going to be a basic for the wipe anytime. Other than that, you go for the Zook, or if you either have access to it or can afford it, go for the 6B23-1. I mean, this used to be my favorite armor and was for many wipes and patches and stuff, but then it has truly fallen out of existence into, it is truly been put in the place of level 3 and not acting like a pseudo level 4, which is what I basically saw it as. It felt like a level 4 is now. So if you're going to buy it, it is not as cheap, but it is definitely, although similar price in buying the 6B3 TM, it's what basically the TM was when I were buying them. They were 42,000, but it's now 42,000, and it's a chest, so you can have your own whatever customizable rig you want on, and it's not a rig for you. But your mileage may vary. I would say your minimum that you want to be keeping every raid is level 4, and if you can afford it, level 5 and maybe level 6, depending on what you find or what you're trying to do. Like if you're doing something like guide, I would recommend always the best gear, period. Where you have to survive everything. But if you're doing normal runs, either making money, doing tasks, whatever, I would say 4 is going to be your thing you want to rush and always have, because it will save your life and it will be worth every penny invested, especially with this, because it will give you a vest. But enough about that. If you want to go for a vest where you have your own separate armor, like a Zook or something, which is, I believe what this is a combination for, the Triton and the Zook, I would go with the Triton because of its size, cheapness, and availability, that you can likely get it off of scavs and that kind of stuff. I believe the Fleece task and the Balaclava task went away, but that's what I have these here for. Let's see what else. The Wartech rig, and it used to be, put it in your Gamma, is gone, but it is a great rig, especially for cheap. The micro rig is one of those things that you definitely want to grab if there's any reason. Like if you're going to go in with light, no gear, like a P.A.K.A., then grab an M rig always, because of the box and its cheap cost and its size and what it allows you to get out of a raid. I mean, that's enough to be able to take a power drill, and that's worth definitely the slot of having the micro rig versus not. And so I would recommend, like if you're going in low, I'd recommend whatever backpack you can buy either off the flea market or you have from a scav. Like the minimum I would say is the duffel bag, but you could go in with like a tea bag or an army bag if that's all you had. An M rig, a P.A.K.A., a pistol, maybe a Beretta, maybe a Makarov, not the TT, at least until we see some changes. And then you could go in with the helmet. I mean, we've noted helmets have little to no use this wipe, and probably every wipe, but, I mean, I would recommend, if you're going to go in with a helmet, to try to be a helmet gamer to protect yourself. It's actually the tank crew helmet. As weird as that sounds, and it has an armor class of 1, it has a ricochet chance of high. and it does black your head out, making your head darker. So at night you're more sneaky, and you can wear something on the face, as I've seen before. I'll test that right now. Actually, might as well. There's no reason. You want to role play as Cole? You grab the bear hat or USEC hat if you're USEC. And see, this is makes your face very, very dark at night. Now, it does add a little weird texture because of the overlay for the balaclava and the tank helmet, but it will protect you. Especially, like, you're not going to really expect with much, you should not expect much with this. It's going to pretty much just maybe take a couple of bullets or whatever, and you're going to die anyway. And the same thing is probably going to happen with this tank helmet. But this tank helmet might actually deflect something with the high ricochet chance, just like this will. But this is exceedingly cheap and protects your ears, nape, and top, which I believe this does too. Oh no, it doesn't protect your ears, so yeah, that's something to keep in mind. High ricochet chance. And then I believe there's no penalties. I don't really know. I mean, I know it says no movement, turning, or ergo penalties, but I don't know what the hearing penalties. I don't remember what those are for the tank helmet. But yeah, this is cheap. That's cheap. This will be very cheap. I mean, I can't even imagine with the fountain rate only. This is going to be expensive. So, kill armor, best armor, especially since it's ultra high weight polyethylene, which means it breaks down slowly and repairs amazingly. And for level 5, this is like solid gold. I believe I actually decked this off of a guy. No, this is the one I decked off of a guy, and this is the one I found or got or something. LZSH 2D TM is pretty good. I call this the Aventail because it's the only thing with an Aventail, and is basically your level 4 your level 4 face. I would recommend if you're going to go with something expensive, go with the level 4 face shield or the Kiver. But until they make it better, right now it's really bad in that it's hard to see through, especially at night. So, your mileage may vary on where you want to go with that, but MREs are something you should definitely eat inside of raid. It's something I realized I might want to make a quick note of. Eat this in raid because you're going to get this 300 second point 1, which is going to help for degeneration, and it's actually going to give you more energy if you have less than 100, or less than, like, I guess 30 energy left, because this is going to likely top you off if you're at 30 or more. But this will also, if 8 in raid is going to give you that extra regeneration that it's only going to take you a couple of seconds, and you should probably just do. Um, and so, side note for only, I believe, the MRE. I don't think anything else has it. And then, of course, the Aquamari is actually 20 energy for the whole bottle and 350 hydration. So, something you might, if you're going to go on a long doing something, hanging out somewhere, this is worth having in your gamma, but more likely you're something you're just going to have and drink a little bit of when you come back to your stash. I would recommend not drinking anything or eating anything at any point until you are 100% prepared and you are entering the raid. Like, you know that you're clicking in and you're entering the raid and you're going to start the raid with friends or by yourself, because doing anything that you're trying to escape the menu from is going to regenerate your materials. Now, this is not base. This is with upgrades for my hideout, which I'll show you in a second. But it's definitely something you want to do uh, because it's going to help you get an advantage from, you know, the fact that you are passively regenerating, and so you may not need as much water or food or whatever. And so, in general, you want to keep your eye out for that. And you may want to eat in raid if you bring something, you know. Instead of just doing it like that, you bring something to be able to eat or drink. Comtacs are the base, although, what have we decided from... I'm going to name drop Veritas as an amazing streamer and Tarkov contributor with his testing and analytics, and I think Sordins were the best.
Jordans were basically the best, and then like, if I remember correctly, it was like, at least in our opinion, the GSSH actually sounded fantastic, and then like Comtax, and basically the bottom of the barrel is the Peltor tactical sports and the razors. Though, of course, you ask any other streamer, and they're going to say that, oh, razors are the best. Your dog poo.
So I would say generally whatever is cheap that you can get your hands on, you probably want it versus not having it. Um, Contacts are good. The rack headset is the same as Sordin, so the rack or Sordins are the same. You know, I would say in general have a headset over not having it if you can stand it. I know some people don't like the sound of headsets, but I would say you, especially if you're going to be doing sneaking around, you definitely want those headsets. Or if you're caring about what other players are doing, you're not running for something, you're doing a task and not paying attention to anything else. Keep that in mind. Uh, this is my junk box, and this is my crafting for the hideout. Along with I think some of these like this might just be drops or quest tasks or things like that in general. Um, Otherwise, these are like the things that you would keep to trade or do whatever's for. Like I know you can use these for crafting in the hideout for the Wilstons, and these are for tasks. And I believe most of the rest of this is for my hideout in general. Um, these are for, I believe, I know this one and this one is for the tasks. I always have a VOG because of the sound. I think you guys can hear sounds because I don't know, for whatever reason it's not allowing sounds, but we don't really need sounds for where we're going. Slap turns this low-end helmet into a high-end helmet. Don't know if it's worth the cost, but I did try it out. Don't think there's anything else really noteworthy in my stash other than this was the gun that we were allowed to make from the Christmas tree. Got this from a drop. Got this from a drop. Vulcan worth honorable mention for the, high protection, 6 head, 4 face. Whereas I think it's the Vulcan's part of 3 face. The Alton's 5 face, 5 head. The Masca, which is like Killa's helmet, is the 6 face, 4 head. And this is the 6 head, 4 face. Along with, I believe, the Aventail being, I believe, the same. No. It's a 4 face, 4 head. The Aventail's on the back is the 5. So, less, but still fairly expensive. So, maybe not something you want to buy. Maybe you want to buy something more expensive. But, sort of depending on your budget is going to be one of those, what do you buy? The Astral was bad. I have one as purely for testing purposes, but wasn't in the other box, in the test box, because of how big it is. This is like the lowest recoil M4, and in general, I just don't know if I would even want to bother. This is the foldable Mosin, which you used to be able to put in your Gamma, but is now gone, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it anywhere, so I might as well really quickly mention it here. You can make 2 folded Mosins for the price of 1 with some buying and purchasing of certain things, as long as you have certain pieces. Now, I don't 100% remember it, but I know that the tri-rail is involved, this 220mm with the being able to put some sight on the top, which is basically the stub barrel. This sawed-off piece is needed, the sniper Mosin, that sawed-off piece is needed, and obviously 2 Mosin, like a Mosin infantry, which is the only thing you really would need, and then obviously the full-size Mosin sniper rifle. And you can make 2 3 sizes from it by mix and matching the pieces of what you need to make the first one from Mechanic and what he gives you, which I believe is this tri-rail, which you can put on and make 2 small ones for basically the price of 1. Maybe I will do, if it is particularly behooving of me, maybe I'll do a little tutorial how to do that later, but the idea is basically you end up with this, where you have a nice collimator, a Mosin, it's short, it's really fast ergonomics, for at least a Mosin, and the damage, at least, maybe the muzzle velocity might be a little less, but it's still a Mosin in that it will go fairly far, and the round is ridiculous. I did try T46M, but LPS is so ridiculously powerful for how cheap it is, unless you get this for cheap somewhere, I mean, it's just probably just avoid and go for straight for LPS. So, um, the RPK is expensive but good. I don't think I have much more on this that is in here. I did try the TX. Whether you find it off of Raiders or buy it yourself, it is a great upgrade. From a 8R to a more expensive platform, something along akin to an M4. But you sort of have to decide what are you trying to do when you buy a TX? Are you trying to use 5.56? Or are you trying to make a better 8R? Because if you're an 8R is basically your 5.56 equivalent version. You don't need to go any higher than that anyway, because you don't really want to go full auto unless you're trying to duel players and win in general. And I would say don't shoot for items or armors or combinations of things that make you beat players. Just try to beat tasks, try to beat scavs, try to maybe beat bosses in some fashion, and players might be considered bosses. But I'd say outsmart things. Don't spend, because the average person's gonna die so often that you're not really gonna make enough use of these better platforms. You're gonna die from someone shooting you and you never saw them, and that's gonna be worth more to you losing that morale wise than it's gonna be worth what it's giving you tactical wise. So I'd say TX is probably the limit of what you want to buy. You really don't need more. Maybe if you find an M4 or you somehow find one cheap or get one from something, maybe, but in general I'd say just avoid 5.56 and either stick to an 8R if you're going to use it, or maybe a TX if it's cheap enough. Otherwise, the MDR is where I think you really want to invest your money, no matter if it's 308 or 5.56. You don't have to put much, if anything, on it. It's very low recoil. It is great for full auto. You can put in your own magazines. It's got great ergonomics, just base. You really don't have to do much to it, and it's fairly cheap. So if you're going to go full auto, I would say avoid the M4 unless you find it or get it off of something or whatever, and go to the MDR. Same thing with the 308. Don't go to an SA58. Don't even go to a FAL. Don't go to any of those things. If you're going to use a full automatic 308, go straight to the MDR. It is extremely low cost. Basically, it's mods included cost. It's full auto. Its recoil is low. Its ergonomics is high. You don't buy much and pay much for it. And it's just, the only real downside is its magazines. It's low capacity magazines. But that maybe will be handled, differently in the future. And so maybe for you, it's not enough to have whatever the size. I forget what's the MDR size in magazines for 308?
20.
So I don't think I have any. Pretty sure I either got rid of them.
They're the CAC Steel 20 762 by 5120 round, or the let me see, I have one somewhere around here with one of the other one. And then the PMag SR/LR Gen M320 760 by 5120 round. So yeah, those are the only two that it accepts, and one of those is the RSAS mag. The other is the mag for the SR25, and both of those are max cap 20, which is kind of meh for a thing that's supposed to be able to go full auto.
Now that isn't the same for 5.56 because you can use bigger magazines. I'm pretty sure, right? You do have more than 20.
Yeah. The 5.56 accepts all the M4 compatible magazines, which means the 60 rounder PMag, the 60 rounder Mag 50 or whatever it's called.
So if you want an SA58 and you have the patience to be able to level your skills up to make it more useful, then you can go for an SA58, but you are going to have more recoil, and you are going to have to spend a lot more time leveling your skills and money in buying it and the pieces for it to be cost effective. And with the change to found and raid only, I doubt that many people are going to get up to the level fast enough and have going to be putting that much time in it to be able to use the SA58, because you'll have to level your skills, you'll have to level your traders to be able to get all the pieces, since you can't just buy them from people reselling them, which was the only way I made an SA58 this patch that was anything good. And then I just sold it for this because this felt better. So 20 round mags or not, this is probably your best option if you want fully automatic 308. Otherwise, I would say stick with the M1A because it fires all nearly as fast. Yes, you have to click fast, but it fires nearly as fast and is about as recoil control as this is. Maybe a little more expensive than this is, but then again, I highly doubt that because this has a high price tag due to players and vendors. So I would maybe say even the M1A would be better, but you're gonna only be the only you're gonna be the only person that can decide what's right for you. And I'd say this is probably something to keep an eye out for. Of course, I've switched these. Is not normally the actual grip or the handguard for this. That's actually part of this. But I like the dichotomy of the look of switching them out. So that's why they look that way. In case someone's wondering what the hell. And I guess that's it for that one. And then, of course, this is from drops, you know, the New Year's event and whatever I have from tasks or my edition. I have my dog tags, which we'll do a real quick. I didn't really kill much this one. And don't know if I did anything to steal these or if these were mine. I don't really remember. I think most of these are actually mine. If they did, they're off of whatever scavs I killed, or as I was a scav I killed. 153 kill. That's wow. 153 kill. That's okay. Oh, Stuntman is Stuntman. Yeah, guess that makes sense. PM 74N. And then RGD, I guess I got an RGD kill. And then I believe this is something I found. I don't believe this was me. And then PM, or PB, PM, RGD. That's it for mine for this one. We got, leftover extra keys. I mean, this would be a matter that I could sell this or keep it for use, which I think is what I was doing. But then I didn't really have much use for it this one. You get whatever this stupid thing is and then put the rebar and it makes it a 1 slot instead of a 2 slot. Same thing with this gas tube allowing the XR SU to actually become a 1 slot. Ammo for the trash gun. P90 is okay. I think it's one of those ones where it's much better if you actually find it off a raider than it is to buy it. The ammo is pretty good because it uses the 5.7's ammo, but it also is exceedingly, ridiculously hard to reload. And, I don't know, just one of those things that might not be worth the price tag / price of mission for the reload speed. So you're going to have a lot of magazines, and, I mean, it's a pistol cartridge, so you get what you pay for, or you get what you should expect from pistol cartridge in general, but, so... we'll see, but I'd say avoid it. Alton is one of the best helmets in the game, if not the best helmet in the game, in my opinion, because of the 5 face, 5 helmet, and high ricochet chance, along with armor steel, which means it's easy as hell to repair. If anything does happen to it, it's likely to be taken, so keep your, keep it within the realm of reality. It's not like it's going to protect you from everything. I think you're probably going to die from a body than you are being shot on the head. Then again, anything is possible, especially late game, and if people take in really, really high-end ammo against you. But for the price, this is probably the best in general. And it protects all the sides, top, nape, ears, eyes, jaw, with a 5. So, this is the T7, which is the super expensive, ridiculous 7 million, or no, that's 10 million. The other one, I think it's the Reap IR that was, or no, this I guess was 7 million when it started out, but it's now 10 million, and then players are selling it for 14 million. So, it's probably an avoid in general. The Reap IR is 570,000, so not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more on the level of a million, but with the fountain rate only, this will likely disappear from being sold because they're never going to put them in. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I would avoid that in general, at least is my thought. The Fleur being much cheaper, but also much less quality. Much less quality. usable. So don't let anyone hear me saying that this isn't good. But certainly, I mean, I'm not a thermal person in general. But if you're going to, you're probably going to want to grab the Fleur for its cheapness. But then again, if you're really going to use it for effective use, that's going to be the Reap IR or the Reaper. And the T7 is a gimmick, and I'd say in general just avoid it. It's for people who need to see everything at all times and be a perfect operating crazy. I've got too much money anyway. Top end streamer or something like that. And I just in general say it's too gimmicky to be worth it, especially at the price tag of 7 to 10 million. If you lose this, it's too much. It's just too much. That's not to say that people
It's
don't
like
use it.
losing a really big case in raid.
Yeah. M1A from the thing. I mean, I should get rid of this case and its usage. It shouldn't. Nothing like this should exist. Maybe only for task items, maybe, but I mean that's pretty much it. And then we have my blackjack, the M700 that I made that I should have gotten rid of or given to Cole. My bags, as the bags changed in usefulness, I mean I ended up selling them off. Of course, the pumpkin. Gosh, I never even got to use this very much. The cat that you start with, the Kiba Arms Tactical Tomahawk, and then the crowbar for hitting people's legs, which that's my recommendation for anyone trying to level strength to level 3 is get a buddy or something and then hit its legs and have them heal their legs as you swing at it. And then Burkett is my only real bag after that. And then of course the defibrillator SP7, the tactical from the book Swordens to test, which I never really got around to testing, / didn't really need to. The beard, the vodka, I think these are both drops, or maybe when I first bought them. The Santa hat and the Father Winter hat, and then of course another key tool, which I believe was my original key tool. And this one was found in Raid, something along those lines. Or no, it was dropped to me from the Drops event. And before this gets any longer and more drawn out, I think that's it. I don't know what more meta we may need to talk about. I know someday in the far-flung future, the Leatherman multi-tool will become useful to be able to break down weapons. There's a couple of different things you can do with your Gamma to have the best, in raid. I would always recommend some kind of Docs case, a case of some kind like that. Docs case, sick case, maybe just the wallet and key tool, if that's all you have or can find or bought, whatever. I would definitely recommend the gas tube for putting your own sights back on if you know you're going to die or you find someone else's or something else's, because for one slot having a 4-grip a scope and 3 tactical slots, which one of those tactical slots can also be a scope, it's just in general because see the sight, and then that it's just so worth it for this single slot. Yes, it could be eliminated for space for something like having the Serve 12, so you have Grizzly, which is all of your fracture medicine, bleeds, healing, and whatever, and then this is all for unblacking your limbs, and then this is for your keys, money, etc. Uh, what's the difference between the Docs case and the Sick case besides size?
Okay, so the docs case can grab there's like documents, so like folders. It can grab key cards. It can grab money. It can grab like bitcoins, stuff like that. Whereas the sick case is all of that plus dog tags plus something else I can't remember right now. I think maybe like skull rings and stuff like that, where like that doesn't fit into the document case, but that could fit in the sick case. Oh, and I forgot to mention like flash drives and stuff like that as well is what fits into both of those containers.
Okay, and yeah, other than the smaller size, you get all of what he just described with dog tags and keys and wallets and the whole 9 yards between. At least for the sick, but the docs is a little bit less, but ultimately much easier to get a hold of and much easier to basically use. These are my keys I got along with what I showed you on the bottom there. I would highly recommend a Burkett no bigger for the new, weight distribution. Otherwise, my personal opinion of the top is a tri-zip or beta 2. Because of the amount of space that it gives you is not too big. You probably don't really want much more than the amount of gear that you would get than those in it. I mean, I know some streamers would disagree or would see it differently, but I'd say in general, that's really going to be probably it for what you want in size capacity. Any other things, Cole? Help me wrap this up to see. Is there anything I forgot about? What meta's coming? What things have changed? What happened during the wipe? Anything?
I don't know. Hmm.
762 is
I think
good and was bad
I think we
before and
covered
came
the
back.
majority of it.
545 is good again,
I guess the
even
one
with
thing we could
74U.
note is that this patch had a really weird phenomenon because of the fact that this patch was also when BSG decided to upgrade the engine to Unity 2018 from whatever version they had it on previously. Um, with upgrading to 2018, they actually rolled certain changes that they'd made previously back. So that means that basically there were certain things that basically were fixed, like just to name a few. The Saiga used to have better recoil control, or at least visual recoil, but then it got reverted back to almost actually like early like beta, basically, where your eyes kind of shoot into the sky as you fire it. Things like 762 being really good was a thing before the patch, and then as the patch hit, 762 saw a massive decline, and then as the patches went by, we saw it come back to a usable state. But 545 went back to being like complete trash, and then again, kind of through, I don't know, either patching or just balance tweaks. We started to get the 545 back as well, so now both of those are just kind of usable in their own case. Let's see what else. I think that illustrates the point plenty enough that basically, uh, that moving to the 2018 Unity for the team, for whatever reason, caused the game to roll back in some of the changes that they had made. Now, some of those, obviously, like I said, got reverted back to being, post patch or post 2018, okay, but still, that was a thing to note, I guess, about this patch.
Okay, well, we're gonna go check the hideout real quick. I don't like to do spoilers, so if during this loading you don't want to see the hideout, please stop now. But otherwise, I'm gonna show off what I leveled so far and what I thought of it. Um, I leveled. I guess this is the way to do it. Is here. I'll scroll through really quick like this, and I didn't get the air filter, didn't get the Bitcoin farm or the boost generator, the library, the scav case, or the solar panel. But I went level 2 generator, mostly because of my time and lack of finishing the required levels or skills. But I probably would have invested. I mean, I literally bought everything to upgrade it as I needed it. It's sitting in my stash there, but then, I got only this far with as much levels and as much time invested in skills as I did. So and then of course my stash because of the Edge of Darkness. Since I guess it really doesn't matter, we'll turn the generator on. Show off whatever I guess there is. You won't hear it because I guess all my sounds are not broadcasting, but then normally the generator makes noise, and that's one of the reasons, besides the fact that I run out of fuel, that I don't have the generator on. This is a little annoying. But here's what my stuff looks like. I mean, I have never tested these this quality settings for streaming, so hopefully everything. Cole, you did see that everything was working.
Yeah, everything looks like it's fine. It doesn't seem like it's having any hiccups.
Okay, so this was me trying out my higher quality settings, so we could do another small, quick, sudden test of what the difference of me walking through my hideout and turning and stuff looks like on both settings to give an idea. But this is what I had. Um, I would highly recommend you pick up the medical station. The number one that you absolutely must pick up and do whatever you can to get is Intelligence Center. Having the 15% extra scav cooldown to your timer is invaluably important. Will change the face of how you play the game because it not only allows people who are new to the game to have more access to their scav, which a YouTuber that I won't name but is a good one to follow has said that you want to go between your PMC and learning from your deaths, and Scav sort of helps you train that. I might do something on that later, but I try to keep the inclusion between other things to a minimum, maybe in the case of naming Veritas because of how important he is to the community. But basically, the Scav cooldown timer being less is exceedingly important, not only for playing with your friends that will obviously have it, and thus you can play on cooldown with them and you won't have to wait extra time, but also for when you do solo your stuff to make money is exceedingly important. Your passive healing in the form of rest space and the heater and the water for like energy and nutrition and all that is important, especially like for crafting, like in the form of the lavatory, allowing you to craft certain things like the mag case as you get it leveled up. All things are important to sort of have on in the hideout, but I'd say that's up to you and how you feel. What your limit to what you want versus how much you're willing to invest in time. But I would say almost everything in the hideout is worth the investment of time, money, items, farming, whatever. The one that I would wait on would be the shooting range. The shooting range is definitely not something that you need to go serious for and get right away, but is definitely something that helps when you want to quickly check out something, because otherwise I'd say you can skip that cost and just go into an offline with either scavs or no scavs and test. Like I would recommend, since we might as well, since we have the time and I'm about wrapping this up anyway. We'll. Oh, that's right. I switched him. He was a foul scav. I forgot. Now, with their new shirt, the Sochi, I think Olympics shirt. I would grab. I don't remember what key it's called. I think it's just admin key or something.
It's called door key, but if you look at the description of it, it says old key for old Soviet or whatever administration building.
Yeah. So really cool. Allows you to grab this. It's usually very cheap, and either when you find it or buy it, it's worth it. Because to me, the price that you'll pay for that key is vastly cheaper than the shooting range cost, and probably always will be most of, if not all of the wipe. So it's great if you want to just quickly pop into your hideout and check something, look at something, do whatever. But I would highly recommend this under all other circumstances, because this is my absolute go-to secret. No one knows about this, and you're about to hear and see this for yourself. Secret special thing that I like for factory. You go to an offline factory, you unlock this door with that key. I believe it's this one, Cole, right? Yes, I believe. Old key, apparently even Soviet made. Most likely it's from administration building doors. Door key? Guardian?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay, I believe it's that key. And you can literally walk over to this little area right here and stand it here, and you can shoot, and it gives you a great sort of distance, medium distance. This is close distance, especially if you stand right here, close distance, medium distance, and then from here is like a long distance shot. I mean,
And also a good thing to keep in mind for the reason why you would do this over, like, let's say, get your shooting range, obviously, other than the price aside, is that this will actually be able to you'll be able to test things that are in raid uh, style stuff. You'll be able to like actually bring ammo with you in your bag and reload your magazines and stuff like that. Now, yeah, that's not super quick. Then obviously, like in the shooting range, you can just exit the thing and then go back in. But the most important thing is that at least during this patch, the the shooting range was very buggy. It would like sometimes you would chamber around into your gun after you left the thing when you went to fire with it. So it would be like pre-chambered, and that could be very buggy and have issues with working. Um, and then there was also things of like basically one of the patches was if you used your ammo in the shooting range, it would actually be gone. And if you loaded into a thing without restarting your game, it would be permanently gone. So if you restarted your game after that did it though, you were able to do it just normally. But that is one thing to keep in mind that this will not ever do that because it's offline and offline never takes any of your ammo or any of that. So
yeah, it never affects your account to be able to negatively or I guess even positively affect your account. And this is one of those things that for me, you can see, it's very clear when you shoot at it. Like if I was to go over here, reload this magazine, I now have this, and I'm going to test with a medium. I want to shoot only in that white, so I can test how fast I'm firing and how accurate that is. That's a full auto. I can decide what how accurate was that with the mods that I put on, test things. Yes, it's not as fast to test between certain things, which is why the shooting range is much easier to test the recoil of certain things. But certainly for as cheap and free as this is to only buy this, you know, key, I mean, I don't know. You'll be the better judge than I will about what will work best for your situation. But I'd say in general, you can see a lot of things from like penetration, accuracy. I mean, you could go for cheap and just shoot only this from like right there, but it just adds another range that you can sort of like go, all right, I'm gonna pop around a corner and fire, or I'm gonna do this and fire, or I'm gonna be further back and do something like this and fire. It just gives you another point of reference to shoot, and it gives you a lot of chance, like, because shooting in this place in general is just good if you want to do it for free, but this will give you a little more of an option of having different, comparisons of how close, like, close and medium and, like, far, and you can go between them like that really quick for just the price of that key. And you will eventually need that key as far as at least the tasks say. I don't think I've ever needed to use it for the tasks, but the tasks say you need the key to be able to access this. I think for
it's for the one with therapist where you have to give her the gas
gas
analyzers. They say
analyzers,
you need it for that one because gas analyzers spawn in that room.
but
But
they never do.
as me and Cody have almost completely debunked, it doesn't seem like they actually even spawn in there. Like if they do, it's so low of a chance you're probably not going to find it.
Yeah, you're better off going to Ollie to look for it. Um, but yeah, with that, smaller bags, bigger armor, cheaper guns. Go with meds in your gamma, and buy as many cases as you can for the things that you're going to hoard or you're going to have, whether for any edition. I mean, for me, I like that because it helps me organize and keep more options in my uh, stash. But as a smaller edition, I think it would almost be absolutely necessary to do what I do. I mean, I have a lot of space just for the edition I have, but maybe that's something that based on your edition, you'll either want more of, less of, depending on your opinion. But I'd say in general, two of every case, except for a Halodnik, the money case, and I think that's the only two that you should not have two of. And then the one that I would recommend you have three of is the Scav Junk Box, especially with how important crafting in the hideout for found and raid only, and junk in general being this thing you can now sell, and it will definitely always have a value, especially earlier in the wipe, how the value will always be high. You want somewhere to store all this junk, whether you have one for fuel, like I've used the dump box for, it's now my fuel box, so I don't have my fuel in, so if I forget overnight, my generator's not running with all my fuel in it and emptying all my fuel. Now there will be a, that's something to say, there will be a app that will be coming that will allow you to do things in your stash for
Semi-speculatory.
Yeah, I'm not certain if it will allow you to turn on and off your generator. We're not really sure about what it will do, but we just know it's coming, and that might allow you to turn off your generator. But for the time being, I only leave one in, and then, you know, pull it out and put it in as necessary. And I like to keep that fuel in the third junk box, and then these were just drops. I think that's it. Let's make a real quick overview of the guns. Beretta's your starting 9mm and pretty much your only pistol. I guess I should say we'll order it right now, since we have the money, and they're why frickin' not. Let's do it real quick. Just for a visual representation for people. I would, me personally, I would recommend a semi-auto in almost every single case over full auto, just because of its ease of access, its cheapness, its recoil control, ease of recoil control. This is going to be a kind of semi-rough. Cole, where am I going? Can you read me the? Can you read me what the guide section says about the gun hierarchy?
Second.
I think I'm like this.
Okay, so right now gun hierarchy goes Beretta, then Saiga 9, then 545 AK, then Mosin, then 7.6239, like AKMS platform, then 308, like Hunter platform, and then like 5.56 and only high-end rounds for that, or guns like that.
Okay, so
Quote.
Just give me a second to fix this real quick, guys, and I'll give you a sort of visual representation of what I believe. And this is, again, this is as crude as I can physically get to get a visual representation for people to see what this is looking like. Not that this is exactly what as you should follow, or that anything in here is just as it should be. But here we go. Cole, check me if I'm wrong on this. This is basically how it should look. Basically, you start out with a PM. It's a cheap. It's easy. It will shoot scavs in the face, so you can easily dump it in the corner and get it back in insurance. And if you is stolen or the insurance later gets worse and it's lost, it's not that expensive. It is going to stop scavs. You're going to want to get 9p, as I explained earlier. Might as well drag out some ammos here, because this is going to be a pointless after this next 3 days anyway. Okay, does this look right, Cole? I think that's how it would be. You're going to probably want to use these, I mean, just as a rough estimate to give people an idea of what you want to want it, what ammo you're going to want to put in it. The first one is worse, and the second one is better. In some cases, there really aren't many options, or it's really like you're not going to want to invest much more on it than that, so I'm just leaving it to 1 round or so. Um, and I guess I'd say it as the PM is cheap, easy, able to shoot heads, able to kill players, able to be, not cost much, easy to get with a low end armor and be able to do tasks. Otherwise, you're likely going to want to go to Beretta and the 9x19 in general. The Beretta is going to be cheap, but it's going to be efficient in what it does. You can also take a lot of pieces off of it, and you're not going to get, really hurt by much by doing so, and it's going to be cheap. Um, what is $181 in the current? Remember, this is going to be cheaper for everyone in the future.
Right
so.
now it's 116 actually. So
Oh wow,
well,
really?
181 is what you're saying. So it's
Uh-huh.
20,996.
So 15,000. No, what's 107 then?
Dollars, $107 into rubles is 12,412.
Okay, so you're looking at about less than 7,000 for a PM. 12,000 what?
12,412.
For a Beretta. How much for the MP5? K, the Kurz?
So you said 181 was
Yeah, 181.
20,996.
So you're going 7,000, 12,000, 20,000. I think the Saiga is less, but it doesn't have that ability to be inside your vest, which does put it a little bit above in the form that it's going to cost you a little more because you are going to take it in a sling, and thus you're going to either have to drop it on the ground, and then your ammo that you brought and your magazines you brought are either you're going to be waiting on it coming back in insurance, not for the ammo is just lost, but whatever ammo you brought is not worth anything anymore. So it's kind of an up in the air of whether or not that's worth it enough for you. I'd say based on how useful it is, it's worth it to keep and bring, but the price at 15,000 is comparably, just enough of a question to wonder if you should bring that over a Kurz. I'd call it better than the Kurz, so I would put it over it, but that's, again, mileage may vary between these three as 9x19. You're going to go to a 74U for as cheap access to a 545, and in general, you're going to look for anything that you can get free AK2 or anything along those lines anyway, and so this could be easily upgraded into a 74M or anything else as you get it, a 74N, anything 545, but is also going to be dependent on how you can mod it, like what are you going to be able to put on it. This recoil pad is a big difference and a big help. Having the ability to put that polymer on, to be able to put anything on it. I mean, I'm using a cheap stubby, but it could be anything. And most cases probably going to be something like the RK1, which is a fantastic, cheap, accessible. Even this is expensive, but I mean, it's for 4 and 3, it's amazing. I think the RK2 is the other one that was very good for price, I believe. Can't remember. Check it. No, it's not. The RK4, I think, it's cheap and it's accessible. 2 recoil is pretty nice for like 6,000. The RK5 is cheap, but again, at like loyalty level 3 is hard to get to. Maybe it's the RK0. Yes, the RK0 is the one that you probably are going to want to. But again, with getting this skier level 3 is about an accessibility problem. So you're probably going to stick with the RK1 for most of, if not all of your time, unless you find grips in raid. Anyway, so then you'll stick with that for your 545. I would recommend or put. Let me move this down because that's kind of not exactly. Move this up. I'm not likely going to do anything with this stuff anyway. And basically, it's 545 into Mosin, right?
Yeah, 545 ammo.
So you're going to go for a Mosin. You could also go for an SV98. I will kind of just leave this here to sort of describe. This is also an option. An SKS is great if you can get it for cheap, especially if you can buy pieces and parts or whatever for it. Otherwise, you're going to look for an AKMS. This is a 103, which is basically the best example of an AKMS, not with this recoil. It's because it's folded, but you know, you're probably going to find no better than this. So an AKMS or something like that is going to be your window to that caliber. Moving into a hunter and how accessible this will be and how deadly it will be with M80 or um, any of the 308 you can get your hands on. If you can't get your hands on an M80, don't stress. Just pick up any. I think it's Jaeger.
It's the SP, the gray ammo or whatever.
Yeah, TPZ SP is what you're going to be looking for, and this is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. It's certainly very good because of it being 308 until you get access to M80. Um, and then from there, you'll go into an M1A if you can afford it or something along those lines. I'm not going to put MDRs in here because those are definitely at the high end of the spectrum. See, even this is technically high end in the spectrum, but is, in my opinion, where you would go if you were going for expensive and deadly. Um, and 8R is not expensive, so you're either going to get it free and it's going to be much earlier down somewhere in here or in this ballpark, but it generally the ammo is not going to do enough that some other ammo could not do better. So I'm leaving it right here to say that these ammos aren't great, but these ammos are serviceable if you find it, or give you examples of what to use in those cases. Um, and otherwise, you're just going to want to avoid 5.56 for the other, choices that you have. Now, if somehow in the future, uh, we get a patch where USEC actually should be using, NATO rounds and NATO guns, maybe this changes completely, and that should be like the first thing you use, like down here. I don't know, and so this is just based on what we know for this patch, and I think that about wraps it up. I cannot think of anything else to possibly show or indicate other than ETG is great. Use when you've meted all your limbs and it will heal you up. You can use it during firefights, but just remember, try not to heal yourself unless maybe you're healing like your head or something, so that it's going across your whole body without your head being a target. Propofol is great, fantastic in actuality because of how long it lasts, how much it helps. 20 metabolism, health, and vitality is nothing to be laughed at, and 300 seconds of one regeneration is enough to carry one bleed very well and two bleeds poorly, but okay enough that you won't die from them, at least very, very, very slowly, because bleeds are not that dangerous anymore. And then possibly even three with a very bad diminishing return, but if you are in a dangerous situation and you don't have the time to stop, popping a probe can carry you, I'm going to guess, with the way that bleeds have changed, even on 3. Again, poorly, but still. And then the fact that it gives you pain and it's only a 2-second use time, it's so much worth the price. I mean, even right now with inflated prices and everything, it's... Oh, wow, never mind. I just realized because everything is ending and the wipe is upon us, everything price-wise has gone through the roof. This was normally like 12, 13,000, and it's now 38, because I guess the wipe is coming, has caused people to do really, really strange things. But this was cheap. That's the same reason why, I guess, why the golden seal was... Golden Star Bomb, I mean, was like 166. This was normally only 100,000. Anyway, point being, these are good. This is good. I should open this up real quick for this. These are great. These are okay, especially in combination to run around or to get to things. This especially being useful for the stamina recovery and max stamina, and it's not having really anything negative as an effect. Just the price on it maybe being the negative. Zagustin is almost useless compared to the fact that you can basically just use Propofol instead. And yes, it doesn't cure the bleeds, but Propofol gives you so many other advantages that Zagustin's negatives of hydration, recovery loss, and metabolism minus, along with hand tremors, just and generally not giving you any other bonuses other than stopping blood loss and preventing blood loss for as much as this costs. It's just not worth it. Adrenaline also being... I should rate adrenaline better, but I think the problem is that you expect more out of adrenaline and think that it's going to help you more, and then it just doesn't. And it costs so much in hydration and energy, and then the stress resistance is, again, not so bad, but you expect more out of it, and it only is a 60-second painkiller and a 15-second for, health regeneration, and then these 60 seconds of these is just, it's just not enough. It's not good enough. I mean, it's not really negative, it's just not worth the price and just not good enough. And so that's why I'd say stick to an ETG, maybe in your gamma, stick to a probe maybe in your pockets, or if you're really stingy in your gamma. But either of these are very, very accessible and very usable stims. Stick to Sliwa and MRE, eat the MRE in Raid, get a Docs Case Next patch, get a AKS gas tube, get a Sliwa. Sliwas are great. You can craft them in Hideout. Burkett or duffel bag or scav backpack, or if you're going to really go expensive and you're really going to go great guns for loot, tri-zip, but no more than tri-zip unless you really have a good reason for it, like maybe a pilgrim a pilgrim is worth it. Helmets are bad, but helmets may be good. Kiver, I didn't actually do that. I should buy that real quick. Kiver is actually a decent helmet, and especially if they change what's up with the stupid face mask. The Kiver is so good and so worth it for its price. I mean, you really are not going to get more than level 3 with a medium ricochet chance and a high ricochet on the glass. You're really not going to get better than this in a lot of ways. So I would recommend this, or just the Cole original hat, just to cover up your super bald shiny head at night or otherwise. And I think that's it, everyone. Cole, anything else that you might want to add?
No, I think you pretty much covered most of the bases, I'd say.
So I think that will cover this wipe. Coming next, we'll see if I'll try to write down more things so that I can be less rambly and have more of a direction for what to say about what happened, what changed, or whatever. But basically, keep things... Oh, I guess that's one thing I might put in as a last. Don't die next wipe, next patch, next life. Because when you die, anything you have inside of your container, whether gamma, beta, or alpha, or even kappa, is going to be marked as not found in raid, which means you cannot sell it in the flea market and you can only keep it for yourself. So try to do things, especially in the case of getting armor, getting guns, getting meds, getting things. Try to do things that will keep you from dying, because that will be worth more in the long run than it will be to try to go in with no money. Because yes, in the end you can keep it for yourself if it's something you're looking for yourself anyway, but if you were looking for it to make profit off of it, you need to live with it. So it's anything that comes back is going to be, any insurance is obviously going to not be found in raid, and anything that you have that you brought out, whether your friend brings it out or you bring it out in your container, is not going to be found in raid if you die. So something to keep in mind. Azuka is a good body armor, and I think that's it. I think I should just stop now before I spend more time on this, and I think that's good for this patch. And I will see you guys on the next wipe, maybe with some more footage in between then and now. EKP is a good site for Riser. If you have an ADAR and you don't want to get the LaRue Riser, you can use this, and it will work with the ADAR base. And generally, this one's a good one because it gives you a recoil. For the minus ergonomics, you can get one down from the sight shade, and that's really cool. And the blue laser is the best laser, and a Holosyn has a laser included, but I don't like the sight of it. And the Illusion is the best pistol sound suppressor, because it it hangs beneath the barrel and doesn't get in your sightline for your optics or anything, and it's pretty nice. Although, honorable mention to the Alpha Dog for giving you a scope uh, riser on it and having pretty decent added iron sights in the form of these. I don't think you can actually use those. I don't think they actually fire on those sights, but I know that they do look there. So, with this being likely the cheapest you can get a hold of, and this is just a mess, and I wouldn't bother. And avoid the PPSH until they buff it, because Tokarev is bad. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'm probably not. So let me just open all my bags and make sure in my brain I've showed you guys everything that there is to show. I think that's it. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope that was informative and interesting in the far-flung future where this might be watched. And take it easy. I'll see you in the next wipe, or I'll see you in Tarkov. Final words, Cole?
GG easy bud.